If you are trying to grow your brokerage, you've probably been collecting tactics, a new marketing channel, a new script, a new CRM, a new lender list. But the problem is that a brokerage isn't a pile of tactics. A brokerage is a system where each part needs to work together as one component of a larger unified whole. It's an operating system that locates opportunities in the market and transforms them into funded transactions. And when the system is strong, success will naturally compound. When the system has bottlenecks, you are busy, but you feel stuck because the wins aren't moving cleanly from start to finish. So in this video, I'm going to do a deep dive into the broker operating system. We'll walk through the three primary components: how you win the opportunity, how you move the deal ahead, and how you build the firm. And I'll give you practical focus points for improving each one of the components within your larger broker operating system. And before we're done, I'll show you how to identify where your personal system is getting stuck so you'll know exactly where to focus first instead of trying to improve everything at once. I'm Shane Walton, co-founder of the Commercial Loan Broker Institute, and we've helped launch and support hundreds of brokerages nationwide. And we maintain an active lender network used by brokers placing their deals every day with hundreds of lenders. And this gives us a clear view into what is consistently driving throughput for a brokerage. And from nearly a decade of observation, we've turned these insights into a blueprint that a broker can follow to grow their business. And this is the brokerage operating system that underlies every healthy brokerage. Now, this is the broker operating system with its many constituent parts, each of which is vital for the success and health of a brokerage. And if you are missing any of these, scaling goes slowly. We've grouped them into the different stages. First is winning the opportunity, where you need to position your firm and yourself, differentiating what you offer within a larger marketplace. Then prospecting, marketing, getting your name out in front of the right people. Then qualifying. This is the process of determining which projects you want to work on and which you don't. And then counseling or advising the clients to help them structure the right opportunity so that you have a good deal. And then the next segment of your broker OS is moving that good deal ahead. Here you're packaging it, telling the narrative and documenting it with proof that the narrative is true, and then placing that package with the right fit lender and then pushing it ahead by streamlining communications between borrower and lender, making sure there's no lags, no hiccups and speed bumps along the way, and getting it through the whole way till funding. And then we move into the third main section of your broker OS, which is building your firm, where you're building out your tools, your software, your documents, but also your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, the playbooks that you will follow again and again repeatedly, streamlining your operations and preparing you for team building, where you are identifying the needed talent, recruiting, hiring, training, and giving those team members the resources they need to succeed. And then, of course, moving into tracking, where you're looking at the right metrics in the right way to make sure you're identifying where there are bottlenecks in this larger broker OS so that you can invest your time and your effort into removing those bottlenecks or blockages so that throughput can flow through your entire system smoothly, allowing you to generate more and more revenue as you scale. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of these individual components and identify where the most common opportunities are for having a challenge and how to address those challenges. We'll start off in the winning the opportunity portion of your OS, because most bottlenecks are starting before you get to loan placement. The goal is not simply generating more leads here, but rather it is generating better opportunities that are going to move smoothly and consistently throughout your entire system. Volume without quality does not lead to a healthy brokerage. Now, this starts off with position, which is positioning yourself as differentiated with a unique value proposition in the marketplace. Because your leverage does not come from offering SBA loans or real estate financing or will fund your business, right? Your leverage comes from serving a particular person with a particular problem with a unique solution. The positioning formula is often I help insert specific type of client base who struggles with insert their main pain points that you address, the problems that you solve. And then say, I do that by, and then insert your unique offering, what distinguishes you and makes your solutions better than others. So perhaps I help real estate investors who struggle to access the capital to grow their portfolios quickly. I solve their headaches by providing them with 95% financing for new builds, new projects. Or I solve that by providing portfolio financing that allows them immediate access to cash so they can quickly move ahead with any opportunity. You're distinguishing yourself by having a clear position in the marketplace. And when you're doing this, clarity beats breadth. A narrower position usually creates better referrals because if a referral partner can't explain who you are and why you're the perfect solution for this person's problem in one sentence, it's too complex and it's hard for them to remember. It's hard for them to convey. And when that is the case, your position is going to be leaking deals. You're going to be losing opportunities. So really, as a first step in building a strong broker OS, identify where you sit in the marketplace and how you can express that in a clear and compelling fashion. And then we move on to the next component of your broker OS, which is prospecting. There are so many different proven marketing channels. We support brokerages that are doing direct outreach, whether that be by phone or by email or by walking into locations. People still do that. We also support brokerages that are building referral networks. They're building an online presence, whether that's through broader social media posting, search engine optimization, running social ads, or even just using peer-to-peer direct networking on sites like LinkedIn. We see brokerages grow through membership in industry associations, through attending events, and even through running ads. The question isn't, will a particular marketing channel work? Can it work? That's not the right question. Rather, the right question is, what one is uniquely going to be most efficient, most cost effective in the amount of hours or the amount of dollars I need to invest to get my unique value proposition, my position in the marketplace, in front of the right people. Always focus on the people who you serve best, because even if it's harder to get in front of them, they're most likely to convert better. Then pick 1 to 2 repeatable channels. Work them every single week and make that your top priority. Because if you don't have deal flow yet, you have a good position, but you don't have deal flow at an adequate volume yet, everything else is untested, unknown. So this is the starting point. And most brokers here don't have a lead problem as much as they have a consistency problem, a feast or famine cycle where they work hard on marketing, they get some deals, and then they switch their attention there. So work this as your top priority every single week, because those occasional effort bursts are going to create that cycle that will not enable you to build a scalable system, a scalable brokerage. Once you have your marketing working and the leads are flowing in, you move into the next part of your broker OS, and that is qualifying the opportunities. And you want to qualify hard and early. Be efficient, be effective, be ruthless in having clarity on whether or not an opportunity is a good fit for you or not. Because bad deals are going to clog your pipeline. And when you are needing to spend all of your time or most of your time going and working bad deals, that's going to leave you very little time to go ahead and invest in the good deals that are also sitting in your pipeline. A fast no is way better for you, for your clients, for your lenders than a slow no. A fast no with support resources. In other words, listen, this project isn't at the place where we can move ahead with current market appetites, but I'm going to send you our checklist and personalized recommendations on what you should be doing over the next 30 days to get this funder ready. That fast no with support resources and next steps is going to be much more helpful for your client, for the borrower, than a slow no and maybe, and we'll look at it and we have to get these documents and then sending it out and never actually getting them funded because the fundamentals weren't right. It's much more helpful for the client. It's much more helpful for the lenders because they're not wasting their time looking over poorly constructed opportunities. And it's much more efficient for you because you're not investing your time in deals that won't fund, and you're also not burning relationships with clients who believed in you and you couldn't deliver. You're not burning relationships with lenders who get upset because you're sending them poor formed deals on a regular basis. So fast no is always going to be better. Your goal here is not more opportunities. It's more financeable, more fundable, more bankable opportunities. That's what your aim is, and qualification enables you to take the resources you would otherwise devote to non-financeable opportunities and reallocate them to your prospecting, moving up in your broker OSS, back in your broker OSS step. It's going to allow you to reinvest those time, those dollars, those resources in prospecting to get more financeable opportunities. And weak deals across the board, whenever you invest in them, are going to leach your resources. They take the resources from the other parts of your business system that you could otherwise be investing to create revenue and make a difference for your clients and your lenders. And once you've got the qualification down, you're really assessing well and getting the right opportunities cleared with space for you to work on, you then can move into counsel, which is playing the advisory role that you need to as a broker. Because number one, advisors earn trust, they earn respect. Someone who will say yes, who will say no, who will point out the problems in a deal, the problems in a company, what needs to be changed in order to make that financeable. The advisor who will do all of that is somebody who you trust. The one who just says, yes, we can do it. Oh, wherever you're at. Yeah, we'll work on. That's not somebody who you see as an expert who you can trust. Selling money, saying, hey, I'm the person here who sells money. I've got money. What does everybody want? Money. Come to me. That positions you as a commodity. Suddenly you're not the expert. You are the salesperson, and your money is the same as anybody else's money. The money from this bank is the same as the money from the next bank. It's all the same green. It all spends the same. So selling money will position you as a commodity salesperson. And it's the ultimate commodity. You couldn't get more even than $1 from one source to another. So it all goes down to pricing, and that's not a place where you want to play. So what you want to do instead is to leverage your knowledge to structure better deals. You want to not only be earning their trust, but you want to be improving the deal that you're working on. So as you are counseling, you are helping them to, in an M&A scenario, address the add backs so that you have a clean file to pass on. In an acquisition of a piece of real estate scenario, you're helping them to really identify potential issues that might come up and to be realistic about the amount of skin they need to have in the game, the amount of down payment they need to be bringing to the table, and how verified that liquidity actually is. You're doing all of this to structure better deals. And in the process, you're resetting expectations. You're doing that early before the deal gets expensive because you've invested a lot of time and effort, because the client has, and maybe because lenders have. You reset the client expectations early, playing the role, doing the job of a trusted advisor so that they have the right expectations to move ahead in a practical manner. And the broker who is telling the truth early is going to lose many fewer deals later. In other words, where are you going to lose an opportunity? You want to, if you are going to lose it, if that deal is not going to fund, you want to lose it as soon as possible. Because if you worked on it for the past 3 months, and you invested 5 hours a week on it, and then you don't fund it and you walk away from it, that's 20 hours a month over 3 months. That's 60 hours of your time that you could have been spending on things that would actually grow your revenue. So if you're going to lose the deal, lose it early. And that's why counseling is so valuable, because it aligns your expectations, the lender expectations that you know, and the client's expectations. It allows you to filter, it allows you to structure, and it positions you for success on down the line. And if it uncovers positions for you and the client in the marketplace that are not aligned, they're untenable, if you uncover that a deal is not fundable, well, you've done it earlier, so you can walk away earlier, so you have more resources to invest in what will make you money. That broker who's playing the counselor also is going to get more referrals because they are more trusted. They're seen as the expert and the advisor and someone that others should be working with because they're going to benefit from working with you, not because you're just another commodity salesperson. So where do brokers most often stumble in this part of the broker OS? Well, it's in broad positioning that is going to attract weak fit deals. You fund everything. Well, it's going to be hard because you're working all across the board. Your deals aren't going to be perfectly tailored to your lender network. Or we also see brokerages struggling with loose qualifications that create a fake pipeline. They think they've got live deals, but if a truly experienced broker was looking through that, they'd say, okay, of these 50 deals you're working on, you've got 5 good ones. 45 ones that really are not ready to go. It creates a fake pipeline, which gives you a lack of clarity, gives you confusion about what's going on in your brokerage, and it slows you down. And as I've just discussed, poor counseling causes avoidable fallout to happen later, which is the exact opposite time of when you want it to happen. So the first part of your broker OS, it needs to create a steady stream of quality deals that are ready for you to move ahead. And the issues that you allow to exist in this part of your OS are going to consistently create dirty fuel, put dirty fuel into the rest of your machine. And that's going to gum everything else up. If you're pouring dirty gas into an engine, that's going to gum up the engine. It's not going to work as well and not be as efficient at producing results, getting your brokerage flying down the road in the right direction. So bottlenecks here are going to stifle the flow to the entire rest of your system and are often the first place that you want to focus. But not the only, because the next portion of your broker OS is moving the deal ahead. This is where you have good opportunities and you're taking that good opportunity and you're turning it into commission in your bank account. If the good opportunities are not moved ahead well, they still can be lost. And this is where a lot of brokers mistake activity, being busy, for execution, i.e. making real results. And the first step in this part of your broker OS is packaging. And here you want to keep it super simple because the more complex your storytelling becomes, the harder it is for a lender, for an underwriter to say yes to that loan. Friction in underwriting starts with a messy story, with a lender who doesn't get the full picture. They don't get why it's a good opportunity. They don't get the proof that repayment is going to occur. They don't clearly see how risks have been mitigated. So you want to always keep it super simple, the KISS methodology. And you want to have a clear and compelling narrative, a story about what is happening in this business or in this real estate investment or this larger investment. What's the story behind it? Why is it happening? How is it going to be profitable? Why is it happening now? Why is this opportunity so important to seize and so highly profitable? And you want to document that story by backing it up with numbers, with documents. Your package is a documentation of a story. It's built to support the larger narrative of the loan, not to reflect whatever documents you happen to receive. The package should reflect the narrative of the loan. It should not be simply a collection of the things you ask the client to send you so you can pass them on to the lender. So you want to answer questions first, right? A strong package is going to answer each of the lender's next questions before they ask them. You are answering the questions first before the lender asks them. And so as you're telling that story, you're realizing, well, the lender's going to sense risk in this area. I have to address it either by validating it and showing how its downside is minimized, or by showing how that risk is actually non-existent, or by showing how it's been mitigated. And with all of this, in the packaging process, a good guiding philosophy is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That's coming from Navy SEALs training, often attributed to snipers as well, that, hey, if we go smoothly, which requires us to go slowly, we'll actually be able to do things right. We'll only have to do it once. If we only do it once, we'll be faster than the person who has to do it twice or 3 or 4 times because they were rushing up front. Take time to develop the right package, because doing so will position you for success in the next steps, which is a consistent theme throughout your entire broker OS. Taking time to invest in the right position will make your prospecting activities more efficient. And doing the right prospecting, getting the right types of opportunities to review, will make your qualification process more efficient because they're more fit for you. They're better quality. And qualification, determining who you should work with, will make your counseling more effective because you're investing in the right deals. Your counseling will make your packaging more efficient because the underlying structure is already there. And your packaging makes your placement more efficient because you do not want to shop the deal. You want to match the deal. You want to take the right fit deal and put it with the right fit lender, because the right deal with the right lender makes everything else easy. When that magic happens, it flows. But the wrong lender is going to take a perfectly fundable opportunity and kill it. Why? Because they can't fund it. Because it's not a match for them. They have their own credit box. They have their own appetite. And it's not your job to change that. It's your job as a broker in your OS. Your system needs to identify that that's going to happen and avoid it by not getting that package in front of that lender, because that preserves the lender's time, hence preserving your relationship with the lender, preserves the client's time, hence preserving your relationship with the client, and it moves you to identifying and then getting that package in front of the right lender much more quickly. So you want to address fit early and openly with each and every lender. Often it's an overview and I think this is a great fit for you. But I wanted to make sure before sending over the full package, because I don't want to waste your time. Lenders appreciate that. Lenders respect that. Address fit early in an open fashion, and you will do a much better job of having the right conversations. And once you have the deal placed appropriately, your next step in your system is pushing it ahead. Because after submitting, having silence on the airwaves is dangerous. You need momentum, and momentum needs to be managed. Borrower confusion, and when you have lender delays, these are both going to compound really quickly if nobody's driving the ship, if no one's steering that ship. If the borrower is confused about next steps and then they're waiting to hear, that's just going to result in them feeling more and more anxious and create stress that's going to break the deal. And similarly, if the lender is delaying, that's going to build more stress with the borrower, which is more likely to tank your deal, have them go somewhere else. All of this can compound really quickly when no one is driving down the road. So your job is to take the wheel, control those next steps before that deal starts drifting in the wrong direction. Step into the driver's seat and support communications. You are not the boss here, which is great to remember so that you don't take too demanding of a tone and burn relationships, but you are responsible for the benefit of your client and for the benefit of the lender and for the benefit of your firm, your revenue, which leads to the benefit of your team, for the benefit of the client's employees, for the benefit of everyone involved, which is much larger than you might think at first. You are responsible for steering that process in the right direction, for managing drift and for keeping everything on the right road, moving in the right direction. And as you're doing this, manage the human element before you manage the documents and ratios. So much of funding that goes off the rails during this part of the process is about keeping everyone feeling positive about moving ahead, having them feel heard, understood, excited, feeling like progress is being made, and staying committed to the path. So manage that human element, the relationship piece, before you manage the documents and the ratios. The documents and the ratios should have been done well in the package. And if you executed that part of your system well, when you get here, there's going to be other missing pieces. There's going to be other, how do we address this add back or whatever it might be. But the human element is the key part to put your effort into first, and then the rest of it is cold calculating, just right, this is the document we need, review it. Hey, borrower, here's what needs to be tweaked before we submit. Great, now we have the doc, send it over. Make sure the people in the system are feeling good first, and then deliver well. So where do brokers most often stumble in this part of the broker OS? Well, one common sticking point is accepting client packages as is. And just saying, well, this is what I got, so I'm going to need to pass it on to the lender, rather than playing the role that they need to play, doing the job they need to do, which is working as an advisor, as a counselor, to tell that client, hey, this part of your AR aging report looks really questionable. Let's talk through it. Let's see what can be done. How can this be represented? Or wait, we're missing a copy of the sales contract that you have in place on this property. I need that contract before I can send it out, because it's going to be one of the first things that the lender looks at. Accepting whatever you get and passing it on kills quality, which kills everything else. So don't do that. We often also see that brokerages grow more slowly because they don't invest heavily enough, aggressively enough in lender fit. Lender fit is an alignment that allows everything to flow. If you think of a pipe and you've got water flowing through it, and then it takes a 90-degree angle, and then another one, and then another one, and then another, and then another, until it finally gets back to a straightaway shot, that's going to significantly limit how much water you can pump through that without damaging the system, compared to just having a straight pipe, because there's perfect alignment between the borrower, what they're looking to accomplish, the package you've created, and the lender and their appetite and what they want to fund. That alignment allows everything to move so smoothly. So if you're going to invest heavily in aggressive fit. But good lender fit can still die without active steering. So guide everyone to success, because that's another easy way, especially when you get more and more busy, to have a great deal put with a great lender, and somebody missed an email somewhere and it's 15 days later and things suddenly become stressful. Then you could have caught that earlier if you were guiding it, and you would have made an extra $10, $20, $30, $50,000 if you had just flagged 2 weeks earlier. Hey, Joe's still waiting on an email response. I went to check in. Oh, great. Never got it. Perfect. You get things back on track. That steering can have an immense impact. And if it's done systematically, often isn't that great of an investment of your time. And most late stage fallout on a deal was visible earlier. Once you learn the signals, once you know what to look for, those issues will have shown their heads. They will have risen out of the water earlier. And if you took note of them and addressed them then, you often could have kept that deal moving. And the significance of bottlenecks in this process, and when you're looking at the health of the overall broker OS, your brokerage as a whole, bottlenecks here are going to kill the cash flow that you need to build your firm, right? Because that cash flow, that revenue, enables you to do the next things in your operating system to polish those components, to smooth out those gears so that your entire brokerage can scale rapidly and consistently. Which brings us to the third component in your broker OS, building your firm. And this is really building and scaling the company structure, because a producer, a single solo operator broker, can hustle, they can grind, and they can do fine. They can make a good living for themselves and their family, but a strong broker OS is going to make that so much more pleasant and is going to unlock so much more potential in the revenue that they can generate. Because this, fundamentally, your systems building of the firm components is what allows a brokerage to scale quickly, efficiently, and in a stable manner. And this begins with the right tools. Right? And again, the tools are going to be your software and how you handle documents and your online applications and your calendaring and your email templates and all of these things. But it's also going to be your resources for sales and marketing. When someone asks you for information, what do you send them? It's also going to be your SOPs. Those are going to be your standard operating procedures that govern how you do what you do in a repeatable fashion. As you're thinking of your tool set, your toolbox, don't collect tools. Instead, focus on solving problems. And start with your most frequent and time-consuming challenges. What is it that is taking time from you on a daily or weekly basis? Because those consistent time drains, if you can create efficiency there, are going to have an outsized impact on the entire rest of your brokerage operation. So focus on not building tools to have tools, but rather developing tools to solve problems and removing your headaches first. Where is it that you are feeling stressed, drained, that you feel you're underperforming? Focus there because it's going to increase your energy. It's going to increase your capacity, and your energy is going to also increase not just capacity, but how you execute, which has direct correlation with your results. And your goal here is to remove those headaches and make each process along the way fully repeatable. And when you're doing this, you're building your SOPs as if you had a team. Even if you don't have one yet, build your tools, your procedures as if you do. Document it as a checklist that you're going to follow because that anchors you. It allows you to move more quickly. If you're storing that for every deal, you'll know exactly where each deal is at as it's moving through your processes. But it's also positioning you for the next stage in scaling your brokerage. That is going to be moving on to your team. Right? Founders, we see, are often becoming bottlenecks long before they are willing to admit it. Their experience is, I just needed to work another hour today and I would have gotten it all done, but tomorrow's tomorrow, I'll be fresh and I'll get at it. Right? And then that compounds to, I just had to do 2 more hours and, I'm just going to work over the weekend and, now I'm burnt out. Founders are bottlenecks long before they want to recognize that they are bottlenecks. So you want to hire when repetition starts to hurt the quality, the speed, or your ability to focus on what you do really well. And the first win that you're going to achieve from expanding your team, whether that be full-time W-2 hire or whether that be just adding on an offshore's VA, the first win for your team and your hire is not going to be scaling, that you hire that person and immediately you're seeing a 10% increase in your deal volume. Rather, your first win that you should be targeting is clean execution by someone else, freeing up your time. Because when you take a process that you've been responsible for and you move that process to someone else and get them to the point where they can now execute as well, almost as well, good enough, that task that you were doing on a regular basis, that immediately creates the capacity. And for you as a founder, you then have the ability to take your new capacity and roll that into either better prospecting, more volume there, so you have more deals flowing through, or better counseling, so you have better quality deals flowing through, or more time to invest in the pushing so that more deals go from placement to funding. Whatever it is, when you have that success of clean execution by someone else, it positions you to take your time, your knowledge, your skills, your resources, and invest them where you're going to free up the next bottleneck. And this allows you to gain stability. And once you have stability, you're recycling that capacity again and again as an ongoing process. Which leads us to the question of, how do I know where to invest my efforts as I create capacity? How do I know where to invest that? That's going to create the biggest ROI. And this brings us to the next component in your Broker OS, tracking. This is getting the metrics on where things are at in your business and what's happening. Because what gets measured gets noticed, and what gets noticed gets fixed. That process of measurement directs your attention, and that attention is going to naturally lead you to improvements. You should most commonly start by tracking your pipeline and your revenue first. Your pipeline, where deals are coming from, how many they're coming from, how they're getting filtered, how many are making it through that qualification, how many are getting packaged and placed, and how many from there are getting funded, how much money that's making, and tracking that money the whole way back through the system, through all of the different variations to see where the revenue is coming from consistently. This is often the starting point and is going to give you clarity on where things are getting bottlenecked, where things are getting dammed up, where things are breaking, where opportunities are leaking out of your system and running away. And then you build your more detailed, your more nuanced KPIs around your bottlenecks. You say, great, have all the things happening in my brokerage. This is the place I believe the most revenue is leaking. I'm going to focus there. And in order to do that well, I need to track these 2 KPIs, 1 KPI, 3, whatever. And you build those around improving that bottleneck. And you might follow them for just the first period until you have that bottleneck cleared up, that log jam cleared, and now things are flowing. And now you say, I'm not going to touch those anymore. They're no longer my place where I need to focus. And so instead, you're going to say, hey, we have more capacity flowing through, more deals flowing through. Do I need to address the team at all, the tools at all? And if not, I have additional capacity. Great. I'm going to identify the next bottleneck. I'm then going to build my new KPIs around there, manage my team, manage myself to those KPIs, remove that log jam, and repeat. Because metrics are fundamentally just a tool. They don't have value on their own. Their value is that they help you to take better actions. If you were taking the perfect actions and you had no KPIs, or you're taking the perfect actions and you had really detailed tracking, wouldn't really matter either way because you're taking the perfect actions and you're creating the great results. Or if you're taking bad actions and you're tracking it, but you're not going to change, you're going to keep taking those bad actions, or you're going to take bad actions and track it and know that it's not working, but you're going to keep doing the same thing. It doesn't make a difference. Metrics are tools that allow you to know what is working, what isn't working, so that you can focus on getting each component fixed. So where do brokers most often stumble in the build the firm part of their OS? Often we see process lives up here in the memory instead of living inside a playbook that's documented, externalized, so that others can follow it and so that you can follow it even better. We also see that there's a natural proclivity to focus on short-term costs rather than long-term payout. That I'm really busy today and I could take this email that I'm sending right now, turn it into an email template, take the extra 5 minutes to polish it, make it more universal, save it in my CRM, and then have it as a tool that will help me tomorrow. But you're running late, or you have this long to-do list that you wanted to get done today, even if there's no deadlines to it. So you say, some other time I gotta move on. That the short-term cost of 5 minutes psychologically outweighs the long-term payout of saving you 2 minutes twice a day for the next year, right? So that's another place. That mindset shift is another place where we see brokers struggling. Another one that we see in this stage of the broker OS is that a team without SOPs and without the right tools is going to create more work for you as the founder than it will create leverage, which is why you want to develop the SOPs and the tools so that you can plug that new party, your new team member, into the system from day one, right? So develop those SOPs, develop the tools so that they can use them from day one. Another thing we see is tracking the wrong numbers. Tracking for the sake of tracking, or just not tracking sometimes, but tracking the wrong numbers for the sake of tracking takes your energy and puts it there, and it robs you of your ability to upgrade your OS. It robs you of the ability to see what's really happening. And when you can't see what's really happening, you can't make the right decisions about where you're going to invest in improvements. And bottlenecks here at this part of your broker operating system steal resources that you could otherwise use to scale, because these resources, this revenue that you're creating, is going to be redirected in the wrong way. If you have a bottleneck on your team, you're not going to be able to create enough revenue that you could then invest in more marketing to fund the rest of your broker OS. Or if you don't have the right SOPs in place, it's going to steal the resources of your team's time because they don't work as efficiently. So bottlenecks here are going to steal resources from all the different components within your broker operating system. And this is really a closed system that we're talking about. There's clear ties between each and every stage where better positioning is going to improve your prospecting quality. And that's going to create better opportunities for you to qualify, and better qualification and better counseling. That makes your packaging faster and cleaner because you're working better deals. They're better structured. And then better packaging and better placement and better push. All of those things, when you're doing them well, they're all going to create more revenue. And that revenue is something that isn't just buying you dinner at a nice place on Friday. It's something that you are then taking and using and reinvesting in the next stage, and better tools, and better team, better tracking. Because when you reinvest it, it is going to raise the throughput that your system is capable of processing. Better tools, better teams, better tracking. It raises the bar for all of the other elements within your operating system. And because of this interrelated nature, the broker OS, when it's functioning properly, becomes a flywheel, a self-perpetuating energy system or loop, where strong position, strong marketing leads to better fit opportunities. That leads to a cleaner counseling process because they're in the domain where you specialize. That leads to better placement because your package is clear, your deal is structured well, and you've got the right lender fit. Great. All of that leads to more fundings. More fundings leads to, well, we create results for somebody. What are they going to do? They're going to return, repeat business, or they're going to refer, which means you're going to have more business. If a referral partner sends you an opportunity and you fund it, and they send you another one and you fund it, those results will inspire them to send you more and more referrals because they know you help their people. And that leads to more revenue. More revenue allows you to scale by investing more in better positioning, better branding, better marketing, which then feeds the entire system. So when a broker's operating system is strong, success compounds. Each win makes the next win easier and faster, onward and onward. But the converse is also true. When the system is weak, success gets bottled up at some point. If you've got great marketing and great counseling, but you don't have the right lender network and can't get the right fit, well, all of the work you're doing upstream is going to get stuck there because deals still won't move. And then it's not going to accelerate that flywheel. It's not going to add more energy into the system, which isn't going to accelerate and improve each of the different areas. So this flywheel is true because everything impacts everything else. And when you clear out the largest limitations first, you're going to create the most input because you create the most throughput. And so don't try to change everything at once in a brokerage. Right? Most brokerages are not broken everywhere. They have things that are working better and things that are working not as well. And you want to identify and improve the biggest constraints first. Right? Because that first optimization that raises the bar is going to allow more throughput, which will create more revenue and make everything else easier. And then you repeat the process. You identify your next weakest link and address that. And this improvement process of figuring out what's going to be the biggest lever to pull, the biggest switch to flip, is iterative. You do it again and again and again and again, creating more and more results each time. And it's unending. It's something that you're going to be doing for the first 3 months, the first 3 years, the first 30 years of your brokerage. So as the next step, you want to find your bottleneck. Are you experiencing too few quality leads? If you're shaking your head, yes, then start there. Look at your position in the market, your prospect machine, how well you're marketing. Look at how well you're qualifying, how well you're counseling. Or do you have lots of opportunities that you believe in, but they're just stalled? Too many stalled files. Look at your packaging, your placement, your pushing. Or is there just too much on your shoulders? There's not enough hours in the day to do all that you want to do. You know you could create results, but you don't have the time to do it. Then look at your tools, your team, your tracking, that part of your broker OS. So the question to ask yourself is, where is that opportunities slowing down? Where is it stalling out? Where is it leaking away? So what do you fix first? You want to fix the bottlenecks that are impacting your throughput most significantly. You're not optimizing around comfort, around the things you'd really like to have, the shiny objects. And you're not optimizing around that thing that just happens to annoy you. You're being cold and logical. You're optimizing around constraint. You're identifying what is limiting my success in my brokerage the most, and then you are focusing your energy there. And that's really the path forward. Because predictable growth comes from a few disciplined improvements, not from a total overhaul of a brokerage. So you find the constraint, you follow the blueprint, you analyze your operating system, you improve it, and then you repeat. And from working across hundreds of brokerages, we've been able to see that firms scale naturally when their broker OS is optimized. When it's firing well and they're continually making improvement, tweak here, tweak there to their engine, their brokerage will grow month after month, year after year. So go ahead and do the self-diagnosis and then get out there, give big to your clients, give big to your lenders, and let's make this world a better place together.